Hey guys, welcome back with another video with Linksy. Hope you're having a lovely day. I am, as you can see, sleep deprived, and that's mostly cause I was playing Stellaris like crazy last night. But that said, let's get straight into today's video, and today we're gonna be talking about legendary lords, namely the Wood Elves, and we're gonna have a chat about them. We're gonna look what they do, we're gonna look how they work, we're gonna forget a few screws after we disassemble them. Let's get started with, of course, Orion. Now, Orion is the OG legendary lord along with Durtu for the Wood Elves. He has the God Kings of Ataloran, where he is, Wild Hunt event, which is a specific event for his faction. He gets plus 10 leadership when fighting in the forest and cheaper cavalry units. When you click on him and see what he does specifically as the King of the Woods, so he goes from God King of the Forest up here, and then he goes into the King of the Woods. So it's a little bit of a step down. Am I a bit overexposed? I think it's okay. The sun outside is, being covered and uncovered by clouds. Uh, he has the passive ability Guardian when Ariel is embedded in the army, essentially buffing Ariel and other single entity units in the army, but you need Ariel first. He gets extra charge bonus for Wild Riders and Great Stag Knights, which is He gets extra missile strength all armies faction wide. This is a spicy. This is a spicy. Weapon strength plus 20 for all Wild Riders and Great Stag Knights. So the missile strength 5% is a little bit of spice. It's a little bit of spice there. It's really nice. I'm not sure why I'm doing the salt baiting so much. Maybe I'm just dreaming about salt bay. With regards to his faction mechanics, the Wood Elves have a little faction mechanic. His skill point tree. Wood Elves have a little bit of a different tree. They do get a little bit of uniqueness. In his case, he gets the uniqueness of having Hounds of Orion and Hawk's Talon, which are two activated abilities. You could call them spells. Hounds of Orion are basically just a vortex spell that lasts 13 seconds. It does decent damage. And Hawk's Talon is a bombardment spell. Together, you get 3 costs each, and I think that makes him relatively strong early game, but they are quite underpowered in the early mid game, especially late game. I barely use them. He also gets Assyrian's Command, giving him Javelin ammunition anti-large and extra missile strike individually. Bounty of Kernus, increasing his ammunition by 100% and give him more Hawk's Talon. Hunter Gatherers, allowing him to build all provinces much faster and much cheaper, but this doesn't really count much for the Wood Elves since you very limited with regards to provinces, and I mean you get this at turn 30, rank 12, 13. It's at that point it's good. It's for military recruitment buildings as well, so it's good, but generally not that great. Would have been better if it was for all buildings, especially for provincial buildings, because that would help a lot. The local recruitment capacity plus 2 does help as well, helps him recruit his army faster, but nothing too special, nothing I would go out my way for. The Eyes of the Forest just makes him able to stalk and extra ambush defense and no success chance in this case, and campaign line of sight. Nothing special. Part 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 no it's part of the burrows, which gives him extra forest spotting, which essentially you cannot hide if he's fighting you. It's alright. But then again, he gets the never ending hunt, which gives him cooldown reduction. From all of this, the only good one that buffs his faction is the Hunter Gatherer, and as you can see, even that is weak as hell. With regards to his unique items, he gets the Horn of the Wild Hunt, which gives him leadership and interception chance on the underway. Bit of melee defense, nothing special. The Cloak of Isha gives him melee defense and magic resistance. But as we spoke last time, ward save would be much better, and in this case, even the magic resistance is only just 10%. Allows him to regenerate a little bit of health if his health is over 20%. It's disabled, so he can keep regenerating till he's 20% health with 8 hit points per second, and gives him 20% damage resistance. This sounds great, but on paper, if you're a missile unit with just around 20% health, you're gonna get slaughtered really quickly. So it allows you a little bit of, you know, juice out of at the end of the battle, but not much. And the Spear of Cornus, where he gets missile strength, recruitment cost is reduced. He gets magical attacks, income post battle loot, and of course, being able to throw a magic missile that causes moderate damage and is effective at all ranges. Very good armor penetration. There's a reason why I ranked him so low on my tier list, and which is essentially why I'm doing this again. The only buff he does for his faction is 5% missile increase and for all armies, which is significant. Yeah, it's, I mean, you know, it's if you have 20 armies, you have 20 times 5%, so it adds up, as in each army has 5%, but that alone is not good at all. I genuinely don't like it. He also, as all the legendary lords, gets possessed by the trickster god, sight beyond sight, and Hall of the Forest. No, sorry, nothing really special over there. I think that's pretty much it. He doesn't seem to have any other unique features. I don't think Orion is that great as a character. He might have been at one point, but sadly, all of these buffs are just selfish buffs that make him stronger and not no one else. Yeah, it's sad. But yeah, with that said, let's jump on to Dirtu, which is spicier character. Big boy Dirtu, big boy Dirtu, big boy Dirtu. Dirtu has the Eldar faction effect, which gives him cheaper recruitment of branch rates, which is great on paper, but keep in mind these are limited. You can get like 23 of them. But again, recruiting them for 50% cheaper is nice, especially when you might be able to get them recruited at rank 20 or so, and then at that point they cost thousands of gold and your economy is limited. So it's an okay faction buff. Whoa, 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 whoa. There you go. There you go. Dirtu himself gets the Elder of the Ancients. I'm reading to make sure I'm not, you know, saying something wrong. Where it essentially gives all units in his army immune to all attrition. Spicy. He gives weapon strength for all units faction-wide, which is essentially similar to the missile strength buff of Orion. So having both of them in this same faction does help because it gives you 10%. But then again, weapon strength doesn't always relate to missile strength, as weapon strength sometimes refers to their physical weapon. It's weird because sometimes from how I understand, some units actually have both weapon strength and missile strength depleted at the same time, and some have them individually. Or it could be just me understanding it incorrectly. Please let me know in the comments below how it's correlated. Hay fever season, Jesus. Calculated. There's the word. He does reduce the upkeep for his army for forest spirits, so 3 boys are cheaper, and gives them extra charge bonus. With regards to his unique skills, he gets Ancient Amenity, where it just gives him limitation of Despair cooldown, and Siege holdout time is reduced by 3, but when's the last time you ever sieged the city down? Burrow Warden, where he gets extra winds of magic, and this is great. 10% ward save for Lord's army during forest battles, which is fantastic. Melee defense +5 for defending army. That's good. That's the ward save for his entire army. Fantastic. I understand forest battles, it just allows you to, you know, it pushes you to build tall rather than wide, since it is the Wood Elves, and the Wood Elves are meant to, you know, be hermits. Ward Bark with fire resistance to the trees, which is decent, and Dryads, etc. And again, this is for his army, nothing else, but it's still good. Rage of Kurnos, Winds of Magic reduction for pelt of Pan's impenetrable pelt, and Westilian wild form. Good on paper, but no one ever uses these spells, sadly. You know what's been a really good buff with the reduction of my spicy Flock of Doom, which, you know, one cost would be the best spell in the game. Oakenheart, Vigor reduction loss, leadership, yeah. And then Awaken the Wood, where it just enables local enemies to have attrition. Again, nothing too spicy, nothing too good. Sword of Date gives him magical attacks, recruitment cost income, and this is almost pretty much the same as with Orion. Not gonna be great. He does get the same other things as other tree lords for the Wood Elves, so over there it's not too much. The main buff that he does give to his army is his ward save increase in forest battles, and his, of course, weapon strength. Overall, you know, cheaper units as well, in terms of tree boys for his army specifically. It's good. It's good. It's not. He's a good lord, but nothing special. Just a good lord. And talking about good lords, let's move on to the Sisters of Twilight. With the Sisters of Twilight, they get the Mage Queen's authority. This is really cool. They give 10% ammo increase in their faction for all armies. They give Fellow of Colonels for Hawk Riders, which is really good. And they also get the Forge of the Date, which is a unique mechanic that they have, which allows them to have, well, super powerful items. We've seen the Forge of the Date updates. It started off as a decent mechanic, nothing too special, but now it's fantastic, and it just gives incredible buffs. If used correctly, of course. And then they themselves get the Dusk and Dawn, allowing themselves melee missile units reduction upkeep at 15%, which is quite significant since usually you go full missile units. They get extra melee attack for flying units and extra charge bonus for flying units. So they have a really unique building style for their army. With regards to skills, they do get inseverable ward save +10 and wound recovery -3, which is very nice if you want your general to be quite strong. Putting them together makes quite sense. It makes them stronger, it makes them last longer in battle, but also come back really much faster, basically taking only 2 turns after being wounded. The Queens and Mysteries gives you extra local growth and local public order, but what's really important here, it gives you extra relationship with the Dark Elves, High Elves, and the Wood Elves, and this is something that you would really want, as the Wood Elves, you need to kind of keep your borders safe by making alliances, and having this at turn 12, 13, according to how you put your points in, is very good. Nyestra's Vigilance gives you casualty replenishment and movement range in the campaign map. The Guardian and the Line of Sight are good as well, but extra 10% movement range on top of the ever-raging tornadoes, that's 20%, making your army super fast, being able to hit exactly where you need without much issue. And the casualty replenishment rate +10% is it's good. It's very good. It helps your army heal faster and being able to fight again the next turn. Keep in mind, Wood Elves are meant to be a very defensible faction, but with the Sisters, you can be quite aggressive. Arahan's Reckoning gives you additional forest growth after winning battles in the Heartlands. Ambush Success Chance, income from raising, income from bonus battle loot. It's nothing special. It's still decent. I wouldn't normally pick it unless I wouldn't normally pick it unless I'm going for something very, very, very specific. But it's decent. But what I really like is this one, Masters of the Ares, where they get physical resistance +10 for Lord's Army, and flying units, cheaper flying units as well. So combining 10% with the 15% they have here for missile units, Hawk Riders become ridiculously cheap at 25% reduction, and then on top of that you put in the I believe it's the one. Well, 1 second. Let's see it. It's the Dreaming. Yeah, it's the Dreaming Cloak tier 3, so that's an additional 15%. So we're talking you go down quite heavily with regards to that. So we're talking 15 plus 10 plus, so that's 25 plus another 15, that is 30, 40, 50, 45, 50, and then on top of that you can also get Quartermaster, which is another 15%, and Home amongst the Burrows, so that's an additional quite. So 50, 65, 73% cost reduction for your units, which on legendary difficulty, that is fucking good. Like, that is very fucking good. Again, very unique to the Sisters of Twilight. Not all their armies will be able to get it to that level, because it's based on a unique unit, a unique item, and this special ability. But this does buff all of their armies, so no, it's actually Lord Stack. Yeah, it's just for the Lord Stack. So yeah, sorry, I misread that for a second. So just for the Lord Stack. So still, it's good for the Lord Stack, but it's very, very unique. Otherworldly Spirit and gives War Save for the army, extra value of Kernels for all armies. This is what buffs all the armies, yeah. And the Dragon Breath for all armies, which does help. You know, getting an additional bombardment spell for your Hawk Riders, for example, just smashes the enemy quite effectively. They're not as strong as they used to be. I believe this used to be +2. Could be wrong, but I was pretty certain this was +2. But that said, then they get Kerin Har, their dragon, which they can summon in, unless they're riding him. I usually go on the eagle and summon the dragon in, or unless switch the dragon in when I'm sieging cities. Challenge to the date, which makes you earn the date favor much faster, but at this point that's absolutely useless. Then that's pretty much it with regards to uniqueness. They're decent. They do have some faction-wide buffs, especially with the Otherworldly Spirits. I think that's the only faction-wide buff they have, actually. But then they themselves buff themselves and their faction in like diplomacy-wise and providing a very strong army. You do get to spawn in a really weird place for the Wood Elves, completely isolated from everyone else, but that is not the discussion of today. With that said, let's jump into my favorite Wood Elf Legendary Lord, and that is, of course, Dorika. Dorika is the Dryads of Disparity faction effect, which basically minus 40 public relations with the Wood Elves. We're not starting very good here. However, all armies are 10% upkeep reduction. In terms of Dryads, Treekins, and Treemen, that's really good. Elf units are much expensive, but you don't really recruit elf units with her. And she also gets the all elf units are glamored, which reduce their combat effectiveness but makes them expendable, so they're not really costing you any balance of power. With regards to her basic ability, the Briar Maven of Woe, she gets -5 public order for enemy provinces, does improve her Dryad strength by 10%, and melee attack by 5% for Dryads, making them quite viable in the early game. And she gets the ability Rouse to Wrath, which is essentially summoning Dryads into the battlefield. Her unique abilities are Nature's Vengeance, a Roots of Woe, Indoctrinator, Shifting Woods, Natural Order, and the Mantra of the Fallen. Nature's Vengeance gives her bonuses to Dryads and increases the roused to Wrath range, etc., and make sure the Dryads no longer degrade, so they can basically permanent summon. Roots of Woe gives her more damage and gets her Pageant of Shrikes, which essentially you can reduce the ammunition of enemy archers and their speed and range, which is really good, deleting an archer unit essentially from the battlefield. Indoctrinator gives her cheaper Melkor Mystifying Miasma and removes a Glamored with Insidious Glamour, which just makes them a little bit stronger, the Wood Elf units, but you wouldn't be recruiting them. Shifting Woods allows her better ambush success chance and causes terror and fear when ambushing, and adds another ability, Befoulment of Mischiefs, which is essentially a grounding ability. The Natural Order gives her branch rates, all provinces. They're much cheaper to use in hero action cost, -25%, and hero recruit rank is +3, so that helps. It makes your branch rates much stronger. Her branch rates are essentially some of the best in the game, in my opinion. And she gets Mantra of the Fallen, where enemy leadership for elven units is -8, enemy leadership for Dryads, Treekin, and Treemen is much higher, +8, and she gets Rouse to Wrath, additional damage in infinite range, basically you can summon anywhere on the map. She does get Coadil Unchained, which is essentially she gets, wait, what? Quest for Fang of Tarot. Oh, yeah, the Quest of Coidal. She gets Coidal as an accessory. And I didn't realize how they named it. But then she gets the Fang of Tarot, which essentially gives her Occam's Mind Razor, -2 and -1 Winds of Magic, according to how you use it, over cast or not. And dampen effect, reducing magic resistance to enemy troops, so she can do more damage. It also gives you Coidal. Coidal is the legendary lord that is just absolutely beast. You think they're too strong, Coidal is just kinky. That said, she doesn't have much else. She does get magic and melee line, which is nice. It allows her to be quite flexible. I almost ever fill the melee line, maybe exception of getting Endurance of the Oak 2 points in there. I usually just go full on Arcane Conduit there, and then of course the normal blue and red lines, just upgrading as it is. Overall, she's a decent legendary lord. She does do a decent amount of buffs, especially with her upkeep production for 3 men, and being able to, if you play as her faction, recruit 3 men at very low level and really fast. That said, what are your thoughts on the legendary lords of the Wood Elves? Do you think they needed a little bit more help in the last update they got, or do you think they're great? I feel that they don't have enough faction-wide bonuses that help their entire faction, but are rather very selfish lords, and they support their armies and their armies alone, which kind of makes sense in the way that they're put out in the story towards us. They are isolationists and characters that are meant to build tall rather than wide. Then again, if you build wide, you're almost always going to win. But it does allow for a bit of roleplay. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave a like, subscribe if you have not yet. Around, I think right now it's 72% have not subscribed to the channel, but you come regularly, which is very kind of you. Yeah, it's very nice to see new people, but if you hit that subscribe button, I might be at around 5-6k by actually a lot more. I think it would be like 8k subscribers if everyone hit the subscribe button, which it would be nice, would be nice. Anyway, guys, I hope you're having a lovely day. I don't think you can hear it because I was checking the noise values, but I currently have a neighbor screaming in that direction and a neighbor screaming in that direction, and I'm like, I just want to go sleep. But that said, I'll see you tomorrow, and bye bye.